that way.
The third key figure in the creation of Apple was former Intel executive Mike Markkula. I asked Steve how he came aboard.
We were designing the Apple II, and we really had some much higher ambitions for the Apple II. Woz's ambitions were he wanted to add color graphics. My ambition was that it was very clear to me that while there were a bunch of hardware hobbyists that could assemble their own computers, or at least take our board and add the transformers for the power supply and the case and the keyboard and go get a, et cetera, go get the rest of the stuff. For every one of those, there were 1,000 people that couldn't do that but wanted to mess around with programming. Software hobbyists. Just like I had been when I was, 10, discovering that computer. And so my dream for the Apple II was to sell the first real packaged computer, packaged personal computer, where you didn't have to be a hardware hobbyist at all. And so combining both of those dreams, we actually designed the product. And I found a designer, and we designed the packaging and everything. And we wanted to make it out of plastic, and we had the whole thing ready to go, but we needed some money for tooling the case and things like that. We needed a few $100,000. And this was way beyond our means. So I went looking for some venture capital. And I ran across one venture capitalist named Don Valentine, who came over to the garage, and he later said I looked like a renegade from the human race. That was his famous quote. And he said he wasn't willing to invest in us, but he recommended a few people that might, and one of them was Mike Markkula. So I called Mike on the phone, and Mike came over, and Mike had retired at about 30 or 31 from Intel. He was a product manager there and gotten a little bit of stock, and made like $1 million on stock options, which at that time was quite a lot of money. And he'd been investing in oil and gas deals and kind of staying home and doing that sort of thing. And he, I think, was kind of antsy to get back into something. And Mike and I hit it off very well. And so Mike said, okay, I'll invest after a few weeks. And I said, no, we don't want your money, we want you. So we convinced Mike to actually throw in with us as an equal partner. And so Mike put in some money, and Mike put in himself, and the three of us went off, and we took this design that was virtually done with the Apple II and tooled it up and announced it a few months later at the West Coast Computer Fair.
What was that like?
It was great. We got the best. I mean, the West Coast Computer Fair was small at that time, but to us it was very large. And so we had this fantastic booth there. We had a projection television showing the Apple II and showing its graphics, which today look very crude, but at that time were by far the most advanced graphics on a personal computer. And I think, my recollection is we stole the show. And a lot of dealers and distributors started lining up, and we were off and running.